Hello everyone, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your December 2019 general readings. We're looking at the first half of December from the 1st through the 15th. Welcome to everyone here. I am currently back from my travels and back in my home base in the States for a while anyway. So welcome back everyone, and I hope that everyone who celebrated Thanksgiving had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. So this reading is for the fire sign of Leo, our lovely lions, for the first half of December 2019. But as many of you know, it's always a good idea to watch your rising sign, moon sign, Venus sign, but this is also for those of you who might be cross-watching for Leos as well. And as many of you already know, if you are interested in reaching out for a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can click on the description link below to get more information and contact details. You can email me at maggie_McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I offer a wide variety of readings in all areas of life and all types and lengths, ranging from 15 minutes up to an hour and a half, addressing all the different areas of life or whatever it is you're specifically wanting to take a look at. And the holiday season is a pretty popular time to order overviews as well. I offer 6 and 12-month overviews, which take a look at what's coming in your life over the next 6 or 12 months. And while you can order them at any time of the year, they seem to be particularly popular around this time of the year as we are transitioning out of one year and looking forward to a new one. So you may want to keep that in mind in taking a look at the next 6 months or the next year of life. And also great gifts, as there's nothing more personal than a personal reading. So any personal reading also makes great gifts during the holiday season as well. So just some things to keep in mind. All right, let's move right into this reading. Leo, let's take a look at what the first half of December has in store for you. Okay, Leo, we begin with the Knight of Swords, followed by the Seven of Cups. We have the Page of Pentacles, followed by the Six of Pentacles. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy for the first half of December is the Queen of Cups in reverse. Leo, I feel like many of you are ignoring the reality of something, ignoring your feelings and intuition about something which is right in front of you. There's a truth or a reality about a situation that's, I feel, right in front of you. And you're either ignoring it completely, or you've acknowledged that it is what it is, but you still feel like there is a way to transform it, or that it's going to get better, even though your intuition and your feelings are telling you differently. Your overall energy is the Queen of Cups in reverse. In the upright position, Queens and Kings represent individuals who have mastered their suit, meaning they've reached, whether they've mastered it or they've reached a point of maturity and responsibility and discipline and balance with the character traits inherent to their suit. So this is the Queen of Cups. Cups is water energy. In the tarot, this represents the energy of, it's water energy. So it represents the energy of our feelings, our emotions, our emotional landscapes, also the area of our life that deals with relationships. So in the upright position, the Queen of Cups is someone who is very in touch and in tune with her own emotions and feelings, and the emotions and feelings of those around her. She's usually quite loving and quite nurturing, always knows the right thing to say, great source of support, comfort, feedback, and she's also quite a very spiritual person in the tarot. In fact, I think the only female character card in the tarot in this deck that rivals her for knowing and trusting her own feelings and intuitions is the High Priestess. So in the upright position, the Queen of Cups also represents being in touch and in tune with your own intuition and your emotions, and where spirit is kind of directing as well. In the reverse position, which is your overall energy for the first half of December, it is the opposite of that. It is not being in control of your emotions, or allowing your emotions to kind of dictate how you actually are looking at a situation, but in a negative way, meaning that I think there's a truth and reality in front of you. Your emotions and your psyche, your intuition is telling you one thing about it, but you're ignoring that. And for some of you, it is that you are allowing your emotions to kind of tell you that a situation is going to get better somehow. And being a bit unrealistic about that, or idealistic about that. We have the Knight of Swords and the Seven of Cups. So the Knights usually represent something being brought to you, an opportunity for change. They're the bringers, the deliverers of the tarot. So they often represent somebody who typically rushes in, delivers what they have to deliver, and goes back out again. The Knight of Swords. Swords is air energy. That's the element which governs this suit. And in the tarot, the energy of swords is mental energy, cerebral energy. It's about what goes on in our heads, how we look at things, our belief systems, perspectives, perceptions, because that affects the way that we see the world and what we feel is reality and how we communicate as well. So the Knight of Swords, this is not emotional energy. This is purely cerebral energy. So the Knight of Swords is usually delivering information or knowledge or truth of something. It is actually sometimes, the Knight of Swords is sometimes the inconvenient truth card, because it brings in a truth and a reality that maybe we didn't want, weren't expecting, or were hoping it was going to be something else. But the Knight of Swords just comes in, and this is exactly the way that it is, and then kind of goes back out again. So there's been some kind of truth revealed, or knowledge, or something that's right there in front of you. Now what clarifies it is the Seven of Cups. Here's water energy, and this is more dreamy, illusionary kind of energy. Building castles in the sky. It can represent having multiple opportunities and options in front of you. You can see that each one of these cups is filled with something beautiful, perfect, almost impossibly so. And what each of these cups represent is potential, the promise, what something could be, what we want it to be. It's kind of building castles in the sky and daydreaming and fantasizing. And we all need to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that, having dreams. But the Seven of Cups can sometimes be a card of illusions, not being all that reality grounded, or trying to manifest, thinking that something's going to manifest something, but it really just kind of stays in the ether. It's just emotional, you know, sort of illusionary, daydreaming kind of energy, and it can represent not being realistic about something. And it's the polar opposite of the Knight of Swords energy. And particularly with the Queen of Cups in the reverse as your overall energy for the first half of December, Leo, I feel like there's just a truth or reality about something in front of you that you're not seeing, you're ignoring. I actually feel like, because the Knight of Swords is in the upright, I actually feel like it's there. Like you've seen it and have just turned your head away from it, or you're just ignoring it. You're just kind of going along thinking someday it will change, or it's going to transform into one of these beautiful things. But in reality, if nobody actually works to change it, or two people don't work to change it together, if it involves more than one person, then there's no way it can change, no matter how much you think about what the potential of it is. We have the Page of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles here. So here we have some earth energy coming in. Pentacles is governed by the element of earth. And in the tarot, the suit of Pentacles often represents earthly things, or the efforts we put into attaining earthly things, which give us security. Because that's what Pentacles is. It represents the things in our life that make us feel safe, solid, stable, reliable. It gives us a sense of continuity. In the physical sense, it's often about money, finances, property, real estate, asset, job, long-term relationships. So things that make us feel solid, stable, and safe, or the efforts we put into attaining those things, whether they're physical things like money-related things, or, you know, stable long-term relationships, etc. Pages can represent young people or children. They always represent being at the introductory phase of something. Student apprenticeship energy. They're just at the beginning of coming to a deeper understanding and awareness of something. And the Page of Pentacles is actually at the beginning of becoming aware of how something actually works in a practical kind of way, what the practical reality of something is. You can sometimes liken this card to somebody who's, just left home for the first time. They're on their own for the first time, and now they're kind of seeing the reality of what they've heard about from, the grown-ups and their parents and stuff, saying, well, this is what it's like to, get up and work your job every day and pay the rent or the mortgage, etc., etc. So there's the beginning, the dawning of realization of what the actual practical facts of something are, and it is sitting right next to the Knight of Swords. So again, I believe that something has been revealed to you in a reality that you're trying to ignore or trying to pretend or imagine is going to somehow transform itself. Now, the Page of Pentacles is clarified by the Six of Pentacles, which is, it can be mutual giving and receiving, being the recipient of a gift. But sometimes there's cautionary advice with the Six of Pentacles. You can see that there's this man who is obviously well-to-do. His clothes kind of have that sheen of silk. He's dressed very nicely. He has a lot of wealth. He's measuring it out and occasionally throwing handfuls of it out the window to these waiting, grasping hands, which are kind of faceless. And sometimes this can represent really needing to pay closer attention to how you're giving of yourself, how you're spending of yourself. What you're giving, is it actually really going towards, are you actually really putting all this effort and contribution into something that is going to be well received and in some way given back to you? The Six of Pentacles can sometimes represent, the crumb card, somebody giving you crumbs, or you're just kind of waiting to, receive something from someone or from a situation. But you're actually not even really all that relevant because you're only represented, or they're only represented by hands. There's not any personal faces attached to this. And while I don't get that often from this card, I am getting that here. I am getting that, whatever the situation is, it might be romantic for some of you, a relationship of another kind, it could be a work relationship. I feel like there is an imbalance here in who's giving and who's receiving. I feel like someone, probably you, Leo, are giving in a situation and have been giving in a situation, but you're not getting even anything approaching an equal measure back. But you still keep kind of telling yourself that somehow it's going to work out, that somehow this situation or this person is going to wake up and it's going to be transformed. But yet there's this reality sitting over you that says otherwise. Your own emotions and intuition are telling you otherwise, but you're either ignoring it or trying to pretend that somehow in some magical way or some way that you can't define yet, that it's going to be different. And I mean, if this is a personal relationship, like a romantic relationship, I'm going to clarify this Queen of Cups in reverse and the Seven of Cups. What is this about? And it is likely that the reason you're telling yourself this is because if you tell yourself otherwise, you may be in a position where you have to end this relationship or walk away from this relationship or this situation or this job, because the truth of it is that it looks like something you can continue pouring yourself into without getting anything back and being depleted and standing in the bottom of a dry well, but yet not wanting to go through the pain of ending something, so you stick with this energy because it kind of keeps you going. But I feel a sense of tiredness and exhaustion too. Okay, the Lovers. This is what this is about. So for many of you, this is about a relationship. For some of you, it may feel like a very karmic, soulmate, passionate, connected, kinetic sort of relationship. And it looks like many of you have been putting an awful lot into this relationship, into this situation, not really getting very much back, only getting crumbs back, but just enough to kind of keep you going and going and going. And I feel like something has happened recently. Maybe it was a specific event, or maybe just it was just one more thing that happened, and all of a sudden you kind of saw it for what it is and what it's going to be if you continue to stay in this, which is just more of the same, like pouring water into a glass which has no bottom. It never gets full, and you also never get to drink from it either. But you're just having a hard time kind of seeing it that way. And again, I think for many of you, it is this romantic or passionate relationship, someone you feel very, very connected to and very passionate about. I mean, others of you, this is a general reading. That's why we always recommend you watch your rising sign, your moon sign, because they can resonate for different people in different ways, of course. Some of you, it might resonate for you in every way except a romantic relationship. It might be a job, a toxic work situation, or a toxic friendship or family situation as well. It's definitely a person or a situation that you've probably been in for quite some time, and you probably feel quite connected, and you probably stay in it and kind of stay in this illusion because, one, you figure you've invested a lot into it. You might as well keep going because you have too much invested. But there's that saying, don't stay in a mistake simply because you took a long time making it. And it's not to say, I'm not saying that this isn't a situation that couldn't work out in the future, but at this time, I don't see any specific way of that manifesting, which means that, if you look at that directly head on for the reality that it is, then you're put in a position where you have to make a decision. Do I stay or do I go? The healthier thing would likely be to go for many of you, and that might be the thing that transforms the situation. Or it might just be the thing that puts you on a different road so that you can open yourself up to the possibility of having a more healthy relationship or work environment, etc. Let's pull one or two advice and guidance cards from Spirit. Strength. And right behind that is the Six of Swords. So this is advice from Spirit. Strength. This is about facing your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, wrestling with your demons, perhaps some of your own bad habits or patterns of decision making that you have. Ask yourself why you're staying in this relationship or why you're staying in this situation. If this is something that you already see realistically looks like it's just going to be more of the same for some indeterminate period of time, then why do you stay? What is it that you're afraid of facing if you leave this situation? And kind of walking into those fears and trusting that if you make decisions which are healthy and loving for yourself, that Spirit will meet and match you every step of the way. So it's about facing those fears and doubts and insecurities for the purposes of healing. The Six of Swords is moving away from a situation which is conflictive, disruptive. The water behind the boat would be the situation, all choppy and turbulent, but she is moving into waters that are more peaceful, placid, and serene. Not quite to the other shore and on solid ground yet, but definitely moving towards that, which involves movement away from the source of the conflict. Because that's the only way you're going to achieve healing. Sometimes this card has some bittersweet energy to it, particularly if this is about a relationship. It looks like Spirit is advising, at least for many of you, for the time being, that you need to move away from this relationship or create some, distance in this relationship to gain some different perspective about it, and to have healing and peace and stability of your own. And it's about facing your fears and doubts and insecurities in order to be able to do that, or at least pulling back enough to give some really honest perspective, because at the very least, whether the situation can be redeemed or restored or made healthy again, None of that is going to be possible if you stay in this energy of, oh, it'll just change someday because, there's going to be some kind of magic wand that waves over it. That's not the case here. This one, it looks like you're going to have to be the initiator of your own positive change, Leo. And Spirit always meets and matches that. So Leo, that pretty much wraps up your reading for the first half of December. I hope, while it may have not have been so enjoyable for some of you, some readings just aren't all that, I think Spirit at the very least is saying you need to kind of take the blinders off and look at something realistically and make decisions based on that moving forward. So I hope that it's been helpful for those of you for whom it's resonated in that sense. If this reading resonated with you, or if any of the readings resonate with you and you'd like to reach out for a personal reading, again, just click on the description link below. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is all that I do. So I'm pretty diligent at working with people's schedules to get them readings as quickly as possible, your schedules and my schedule. So if you're interested, send me an email, reach out and contact me. I would be most happy to work with you. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the December mid-month readings, and until then, as always, Leo, I wish you much love and joy during this holiday season, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.